What's up, guys? Welcome to the video. I'm Jake, and today we're going to be looking at Instantly AI, and specifically how to use an automation in Instantly AI to automatically upload your leads to the platform so they can be emailed. So essentially, this is a crucial step in putting your Instantly AI on autopilot. And more specifically, we're going to be using something called an HTTP node and an API call. If you don't know what those are, don't worry, keep watching. I'm going to explain it all, and doesn't matter if you know what they are, you're going to be able to do it, and you're going to be able to do this yourself. And even more in depth, we're also going to be looking at something called custom variables. Custom variables are something that can be very confusing if you don't know how to use them, if you don't know how to use them with your API call, because Instantly is very particular on how they receive their custom variables. And so we're going to be focusing on all that today. I'm going to show you how to do the HTTP call with the API, and I'm going to show you how to do that with the custom variables and upload it directly and instantly so you can put your Instantly.ai email campaign on autopilot. So this is the platform we're going to be using to do all this. It's called n8n. If you're not familiar with n8n, again, don't get nervous. It's really simple. It's free to use for most people, and this is the platform we're going to use to automate this workflow. So inside n8n, we're going to be using something called an HTTP node. Like I said, don't worry too much what that means. All it means is that it's going to grab something from somewhere so that I can run something on a different website. And that thing that we're grabbing is going to be called the API. And so we specifically want an API, and this is the API documentation for Instantly AI so that we can push information to Instantly AI from a different source, whether it's Google Sheets, whether it's Airtable, your CRM, whatever it may be. You can push the information from that database directly into Instantly and have it run automatically. So again, you can put this on autopilot. And what you see here is actually a node that I already made and that I know works because it is literally copy and pasted from Working Flow, where I have it already running and working and getting all these custom variables inside of Instantly. So starting off with, where do we go first? First, of course, you have to go to your n8n. If you don't have n8n, then it's free to use for most users, and you can self-host, in which case it's 100% free to use, and that's what I do. But there is a paid plan as well, but that's aside from the point. It is very cheap and potentially free if you want to do the setup for anyone who wants to use this. So you go to n8n, you open up a new workspace, and then you go here, and you type in HTTP. And in the HTTP, we're going to do post. And I'm going to stop right there, and we're going to go over kind of what's inside this other one before we continue. So this other one, it's going to be post. The URL is going to be this. It's going to be HTTPS, the api.instantly.ai/API/v2/leads. That's what's called the API endpoint. And the API endpoint is what we're going to use because that's where we're going to be sending the information to, so it uploads into our Instantly. And then there's two things we're going to need to click on for this HTTP request: headers and JSON body, or just send body, and then you leave everything default. So no changes need to be made there. Don't worry. And then if you look at the headers are super simple. It's just going to be authorization and then bearer. And then right here, it's going to be your API key. And you can find your API key on your Instantly. So you go here, you go settings, you go integrations, and you go API keys. And then you can generate an API key for yourself right there. And so you grab that API key, you put it right after this bearer, the full API key. And now you're almost done. You're almost done. The last thing you need to do is include the fields. So the first field is going to be campaign. So this is where you're actually sending your information. So you put your campaign right here. And then your campaign is going to be this thing right here. This is going to be what you put for your campaign. So it's going to be in the URL. You just copy and paste that directly into your campaign. And then we're going to add a couple more fields. So you're going to see you're going to need a field for your email, your first name, last name. And then if you want to include these, website, company name, you can include those. And so we'll go ahead and add those together. So I am going to copy and paste these because, like I said, it is very particular. So you need to have the exact field, and I think it may be case sensitive. So email, and then you just put mapped email, and then you're going to do your first name, first underscore name, because it has pre-built fields for these. So for these, you want to have the pre-built fields specifically labeled. Otherwise, it won't actually find its way to that field in Instantly.ai. And so first name, last name. And it has space for the rest of these two. Website, company name, and this is one you always want to have, skip if in campaign true. And what that does is if you already have the lead in your campaign, then it's not going to double up on them, because we don't want to be emailing the same person, potentially the same thing twice, 3, 4, 5 times. And so it is an inbuilt deduper. So that's the base stuff. And now we get to the little bit more advanced stuff. So there's something called custom variables. You're probably thinking, okay, what if there's, personalized variables that I want to include in my flow, or not in my flow, but in my email campaigns? You want to map them in your email. So you have specific items that for each person, when it gets to their email, it just embeds that item. For example, I'll go to my sequencing. We have industry, prod serve, which is product or service, abbreviated company name, their value, our tied value. And so if you want to have fields like that included, you're going to have to use what's called custom variables. And custom variables are really a pain in the ass if you don't know how to do them. But all you do, and I say they're a pain in the ass because the Instantly API documentations, they don't tell you how to do it. They really do not. And so I basically had to figure this out myself, but all you do is type custom underscore variable and then dot, and then whatever you want to name your custom variable. And then you'll see that those custom variables will show up here under what you name them: abbrev comp, industry, prod serve, tied value. And so you just, for as many custom variables as you want, for as many items as you need, you use this and you put it in, add custom variable, blah, blah, right? Whatever you're mapping here. And of course, if you're watching my video, you've probably watched a few more of my videos and you understand how the mapping works. But if you don't, I can make another video that shows you the exact mapping and how that works, so that you guys can understand as well of how to specifically use these HTTP requests with your API calls to autopilot your Instantly AI. But that is really it, guys. It's pretty straightforward. I guess the options, I should include this. So you do have to go to options and then responses, include response header and status, and then auto detect. And then I also like to, in the settings, retry on fail. It may fail, and if it does, at least it's going to retry a couple times. And then this one, I believe I also have on air continue, so it doesn't break my flow. And this one might have on air stop workflow. But that does depend. If you want to catch every error, then you can stop on the workflow, but you're fine with having some slippage continue on there is fine, especially if you're dealing with huge, large data sets. But nonetheless, just to show you guys one more time, post, here's the URL, which is your API endpoint, which you can find all the API endpoints at developer.instantly.ai, and then you can go to whatever it is, campaigns for most people, or not campaigns, emails for most people, or lead lists. And there's a bunch of different things you can do. They have a pretty extensive API, and so it's really nice of them to allow all this. You can reply to emails, you can create campaigns, you can do all kinds of things just on autopilot using these APIs. But you go to there, you grab the one that you need. This one's for uploading leads, and so you grab this API endpoint, do the header, authorization, bearer, your API key, and then you include your fields, your campaign, email, first name, last name, website, company name. And if you're wondering what these are, you literally just drag and drop them. So when you have a mapped, let's say Google Sheets with 10,000 leads in it, you just drag and drop. Just drag and drop and press run, and you're good to go. And skip a campaign, true, custom variables. And then you add your custom variables. You set this up, you set that up, and then you're good to go. Well, that's it, guys. That's how you add the custom variables. That's how you upload leads and use the Instantly.ai API via the HTTP node in n8n. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, I would super appreciate a like, a subscribe, a comment, really anything telling me that I'm at least going in the right direction here and that I can continue to put out good content for you guys. And if you want to see something else, drop it in the comments below. You guys see my subscriber count. I'm still small enough to take requests, so it's all good. If you want to see something, I promise you I could probably do it. And so with that, thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate your time and hope you have a great rest of the day. Cheers.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.